Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, we are here for a very late qualifying reaction from me in the UK. I think it is something past midnight. I'm still suffering from jet lag, so for me it feels kind of like still in the afternoon at some point. But anyway, I was out for the evening, so I only just got a chance to watch qualifying. And also, it had only just been the decision that Max Verstappen has been stripped of that pole position, being given a 3-place grid penalty, and will start from P4 tomorrow. But the main thing probably to say from this qualifying is it is good news to hear that Valtteri Bottas is okay, as obviously he had a heavy impact with the wall in that crash, causing that yellow flag in the last sector of Q3. And obviously affecting a lot of the times for pole positions. But the main thing is he is okay. But obviously his car sustained a lot of damage. So I would be incredibly surprised if he doesn't get any grid penalties whatsoever, or even start as far back as the pit lane, having to replace a flooring with all the damage that was sustained to his car. I think Mercedes described it as significant damage. So yeah, not great for him on the crash, but glad he's okay, and not great for him for the race tomorrow on that front, especially with him being very unlikely, but still was in a chance to overturn Lewis Hamilton.
So, very silly of me. I forgot really to mention my thoughts on the penalty to Max Verstappen. And so I thought I'd insert it here for you guys. Basically, I think this penalty is completely fair. I think, he received a similar penalty, the exact same penalty in Sochi last year. He put himself and other drivers at risk by still accelerating through the yellow flag. For me, playing it on a game, obviously I'm not a professional driver and I'm not a driver of anything. They are better than me in every aspect, but I still think on a track, that is an easy part of the track where you can lose it in the car, and especially where Bottas' car was positioned. Yeah, it wasn't great from Max Verstappen. Silly of him to do it, and at the end of the day, he still would have had pole position, having been provisional pole anyway. So it was a bit of a stupid mistake for Max Verstappen to make. And now he has a difficult race from P4, but not an impossible race. Be very interesting to see how things play out. Going to be a very interesting fight between him and Lewis Hamilton going into turn 1. But yeah, just thought I'd add that in there for you guys. And for you now, the rest of the qualifying review.
But guys, we'll now get into qualifying. So we will go through the run through now. So first was Max Verstappen, but obviously now is Charles Leclerc in P1. Vettel is promoted to P2. Lewis Hamilton promoted to P3. And Max Verstappen goes in P4. Alexander Albon with a good lap. Had initially beat Valtteri's lap. He hadn't had a great first lap in Q3, so Albon was 5th and Valtteri Bottas is on 6th, as I said, pre any kind of penalties he may receive for repairs to his car. P7 was Carlos Sainz and P8 was McLarens. Again, they are just dominating things in that midfield. Probably 2020 is too soon for them to be catching and competing with the top bunch, but if they can get it right with a Merc engine in 2021, they're really making significant steps forward and more like the McLaren team that we've come to expect rather than anything else, rather than obviously the poor team that they've been over the past few years. Sorry, there's I think car lights in the background there. Sorry for the horror movie-esque out in here. Yes, P8, P9 was Pierre Gasly and P10 was Daniel Kvyat. They rounded off Q3. The Toro Rossos as well as the Red Bulls had surprising good pace. The Honda package was doing well this weekend, so it was very good. And it was very close actually between midfield in Q2 actually, because Perez, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo all were going through after the first round in Q2, but then Sainz and both the Toro Rossos, although they did do their first stint on the medium tyres, were able to get quick enough times to progress into Q3. Then we come into P11 and missing out by 0.008 of a second in his home Grand Prix. That was Sergio Perez. And I think he's in a very good position, actually, because his race pace for the second half of the season has been incredibly strong. And I fully expect him to be within the points tomorrow and have a strong points finish in his home Grand Prix. So still a good position for Sergio Perez, although he just missed out, obviously, on qualifying for Q3. I fully expect him probably to start on the medium compound. 12 was Nico Hulkenberg, out qualifying his Renault teammate, Danny Ricciardo. Not obviously the performance Renault were hoping for, obviously after the controversy and their disqualification from Japan earlier in the week was not great for them. So P13 was Danny Rick, and then we got to the Alphas. Giovinazzi again out qualifying his teammate in Kimi Raikkonen, and Kimi Raikkonen was P15 in the end. I think it was that way round. Sorry, I'm just now thinking about it. I might have got that the other way around. But they were the only car, I think we're discussing it on the Fancy Weekly, me and Stephen, that basically Haas, Williams and Alfa now have dropped so far off and they can't really progress any further this year. So I expect full development is on for the 2020 cars. So yeah, Q2 is really the best that Alphas are really hoping for, bar an exceptional lap from Giovinazzi or Kimi Raikkonen. We then had in P16 Lance Stroll, again returning to normality, out in Q1. He really is struggling in qualifying. Again, Perez showed that Racing Point had better pace than it was. 2020 has got to be the one big point Lance Stroll wants to improve on is qualifying. P16, no real surprise there. Then it was just a roundup of the two Haas. And oh God, actually, I forget which order they were on. I'm going to go P17 was Kevin Magnussen on his 100th Grand Prix. And then P18 was Roman Grosjean. And then the Williams with George Russell and Robert Kubica in 19th and 20th respectively. Was an interesting qualifying, not one of the most exciting, obviously again robbed of a really good event in qualifying because of that yellow flag at the end, but you can't really say robbed. Bottas didn't mean to crash out. But it did mean that all the guys, they were on for quick times, and actually Lewis Hamilton was looking very quick and had done some personal bests. I think he was certainly personal best in the Sector 2 going forward. So yeah, it would have been really interesting to see where they would have qualified and whether Max Verstappen would have qualified on pole if the yellow flag situation hadn't come about. But looking forward to the race, for me, I can't see beyond the Ferraris winning this race. Well, I say I can't see beyond. If everything goes smoothly into plan, I can't see the Ferraris mucking up this. They have the pace advantage. They are on the medium compounds, just like Mercedes. So they've covered off strategy on that front because both qualified in Q2 on the medium compounds. I expect them to control. So really the issue would be, can Vettel get past Leclerc into turn 1, and which one of the Ferraris will be standing on the top step of the podium? Lewis Hamilton, I probably expect to finish 3rd, although I'm expecting a very good battle between him and Verstappen throughout the race. Albon I will expect to finish 5th, and then Bottas with that penalty should be an exciting race for him, making his way through the field. It'll be interesting to see if he can do any better than a P6 finish. And best of the rest, it just looks like it's going to be McLarens. And again, it may be getting a little bit boring, but it just proves how good they've been and how consistent Norris and Sainz have been. Really exciting there. And the rest of the midfield, I'm sure we'll have lots of good action. Whether we see it or not, thanks to Sky Sports, is another question. But guys, hope you're looking forward to the race like we are. Ashley will be bringing our race reaction after the race tomorrow. So hope you guys look forward to that. And then I'll be back on Monday for a driver ratings for you. But for now, you F1 fans, keep racing.